These are games that good teams win. The Avs maybe could have made it easier on themselves, and it certainly wasn't clean, but they found a way to get the job done. Avs win over the Montreal Canadiens 3-2. This was kind of a weird game. A lot of the times, things didn't quite line up right. For example, through the first part of the first period, the Avs were out shooting Montreal pretty heavily, but it didn't feel that way. Montreal was getting decent zone possession time and even some dangerous opportunities, but when you look back at the stats, no, it was the Avs that were in control. Before we get into all of that, though, obviously there are a lot of lineup changes here to talk about for the Avs. First, Landeskog and Burakovsky are back in the lineup, obviously huge additions, and had a direct impact on this game and the Avs' ability to win it. But also, Nazem Kadri out of the lineup with a lower body injury, and that hurt. The Avs definitely missed Kadri and what he brought to that second line. Thankfully, the bolstering of the ranks was able to make up for it. Barberio was also slotted in for Calle Rosen, but if I'm being honest, swapping those two for each other really didn't make that much of a difference. So, into the game itself, the first thing to note is that it was very physical on both sides, and that starts with Nikita Zadorov dumping Kotkaniemi in the corner behind the Avs net and ending up injuring him because his head hit the ice when he fell. I have no real problem with this play. It's a clean hit from Zadorov. You can see he stays on his feet. Doesn't do anything particularly egregious. It's a play that happens pretty regularly in hockey games. Kotkaniemi just kind of seems to lift off into the air and lose his balance, and that causes him to fall and hit his head. It's unfortunate, and of course, hopefully Kotkaniemi is okay. Everything went well. The refs blew the whistle when the Avs got the puck, as they should. Good to see that. And, you know, I feel bad for Montreal. You never want to see a player get hurt, but at the same time, tough. The Avs dealt with this problem every other game, it felt like, in November, and they managed just fine. So with the physicality up, the good news is almost no one on the Avs shied away from that. They were not afraid to take hits, and they were not afraid to give hits, be it Cale Makar, Andrei Burakovsky, or whoever else. I think one of the key advantages that gave the Avs the edge, especially early in this game while they still had their legs, was their speed. Montreal just struggled to keep up with them, and that's what eventually led to the first goal of the game. There's not much to it here, but this puck was coming up the boards, and it's a good job by Val Nichushkin to win the positional battle and make sure this puck can get up and out as Cale Makar jumps up into the play to collect it. Nichushkin does not get an assist, as this would be the third assist, but still a very nice play to create an opportunity. As Makar jumps into the rush, he's going to go up the near side while Calvert goes right down the middle towards the net, and Montreal simply cannot keep up. Makar is just too fast. He gets the edge, makes a beautiful little puck draw to cut it to the inside underneath Weber as he cuts with his body to the middle as well to create a shooting opportunity for himself. Now, it does kind of get scrambled a bit. He's not able to get a great shot off, but it does get on net and creates a rebound, which allows Matt Calvert to crash and to jump on the puck as well. It is a bit in tight, and there's just nowhere to go with this for Calvert, but he keeps the play alive by taking another shot and keeping the puck loose. This is a brand new goaltender, Primo's first game in the NHL, just getting pucks on net. You're going to get some good rebounds and opportunities. Graves also recognizes the situation. Look at this. He's beaten the forwards back, both forwards coasting in behind him as he's reading the play and sees an opportunity. So when Calvert's shot doesn't go in and the puck remains loose, look at this. The glove is nearly right on top of the puck here, but he's just able to get there and poke it free to chip it up and into the net. Graves is quickly turning himself into the ideal bottom pairing defenseman, very much similar to the mold of a Nick Holden type. Can he play in your top four? maybe in a pinch, but it's not something I would recommend. He's at his best when he's being sheltered a little bit. He can make those offensive reads, and he's not out of his depth on the defensive side. And that's a nice piece to have for the Avs, not so unlike a Belmar on the offensive side. If the player knows what he is and leans into his role and is effective in it, that's useful. When you're building a team, in a perfect world, you have players playing on your third and fourth line that are capable of being middle six or top six players. And maybe you can get one, two, a couple of those, but the reality is you're going to need pieces that fit into the puzzle, that fit into those roles and to know how to play them. And when you can get a piece like Ryan Graves that fits in so effectively in a bottom pairing role that can chip in offensively, you have to take advantage of that. Let Graves make those nice reads while you let Makar's talent provide opportunities. And the goal only seemed to swing things more in the Avs' favor. They came out hot and they pushed the play, and Montreal just couldn't keep up, even with the Avs playing the second half of a back-to-back. Now, that strategy would create issues later in the game, which we will certainly get to, but it worked here. And part of the reason it worked is because the Avs got talent back, and boy, did this team miss Gabe Landeskog. A loose puck in the neutral zone has Max Domi and Mikko Rantanen racing and colliding for it, and the Avs do get away with one here. You're going to see Rantanen with the butt of his stick as he's coming in for the check, does end up catching Domi up high in the head. Should have been a penalty. Not going to argue any way around this. It should have been one, but it wasn't called. So the play continues. Rantanen is very smartly playing to the whistle here and is just able to chip it out to open ice, which is eventually filled by Gabe Landeskog coming off the bench, fresh legs, and he just walks right into the middle of all of the Habs, all five of them creating a circle around him, but give him a perfect lane to go to the outside. And it's Gabe Landeskog. You know he's cutting hard into the nets. He does so and then beats Primo. Did the Avs get a lucky break by not getting that penalty called against them? Absolutely. Was it a bit of a soft goal for Primo to give up? Absolutely. But the Avs are getting some good luck. They went through a long stretch of tough luck, whether it was on the ice or with injury problems. They've earned a bit of good. And if I'm being honest, I'm not a big believer in karma and all of that with the Avs getting things going their way now. I think it's more of a good luck is earned type of thing, and the Avs were simply outplaying the Habs in this period. A couple bounces go your way, and that's how the game becomes 2-0. On the surface of this, if we're being honest, this year the Avs are a better team than the Canadiens. At least on paper, they just should be. And that's what this first period ended up looking like. In the latter parts of the first, things would get a little bit squirrely with a 2-goal lead. Second half of a back-to-back, you know the Avs are going to back off a little bit and try and reserve those legs to get through the rest of the game. This gave Montreal a number of quality opportunities, but Francouz was able to back up the team. As the backup goalie, he's fresh, he knows he has a job to do, and he was a big part of the victory in this one. And so the Avs get out of the first period up 2-0. It was hard work, but not too much fuss to it. Now, the second period was more interesting. The first 15 minutes of the second was by far the best stretch of hockey the Avs played throughout the entire game. They controlled the play, they slowed the play down, they made smart decisions, and played the exact way you write it up for teams playing their second of 2 games. It was low event and low energy, and the Avs cruised right along. Even with a 2-goal lead, they were the ones getting the better opportunities. They did run into a few hiccups, like taking a penalty about 6.5 minutes into the period, but they managed those hiccups and even excelled through those hiccups as for the second game in a row, they pull out a shorthanded goal. This is what a bad breakout looks like on the power play. If you've been a fan of the Avs, you probably recognize it somewhat. As they cut in to go into the zone, you're going to see not only do multiple Habs all bunch up in a tight space, you have 3 along the line here, and what is that, about 1/3 of the ice? there is no communication. There is no setup. This is not a quality play, as the pass is looking to come all the way through over to the boards, which would be good. They have space to work with there, but there's this guy in the middle. You kind of forgot about him. You fire it right into his skates, and off out of the zone it goes. That's no play of the Avs. I guess they did a decent job of standing around at the blue line, but that's a complete mistake on Montreal's part. And the Avs capitalize as JT Compher and Matt Calvert both jump up the ice and hound this puck down. Compher even working through a bit of a hook there to create this 2-on-1 opportunity. JT walks in and is able to make a fantastic pass that just slips through to Calvert. All he has to do is finish. So it's a 3-0 game halfway through the second period, and the Avs are feeling pretty comfortable and confident as they continue to play quite well at 5-on-5. The one nitpick I have in the first half or so of this game is they would get a power play opportunity a bit later in the second, and they had the chance to put this game away. If you make it 4-0, the game is all but done. Montreal's not going to come roaring back, most likely, given the way the game has gone that far. And they came up a little bit short. The power play, at least the first one of the game, was not that bad for the Avalanche. They were getting opportunities, but they just didn't get the goal. Later power plays, however, would be a bit worse. They had other chances to put the game away even after it got closer, and those power plays really struggled. Montreal plays a very patient box in their penalty kill systems, and the Avs just don't seem to have an answer for that patient style. When it's an aggressive PK, they can create space, they find the passing lanes, use that seam pass effectively. But when Montreal stands around and says, we're going to make you do something to create, they really just seem to stagnate. So you're getting down towards the end of the second period, and it's been all systems nominal to that point. But it only takes one play to swing the momentum, and the Avs have had this issue in a lot of games lately in the second period. It crops up again, and it almost became a bigger problem this time. Gallagher is breaking in essentially from a standstill at the red line here, so the Avs are back effectively. And as Gallagher comes in, Nuke is going to try and step up on him, and it fails in two ways. First, Gallagher just feeds the puck off to the far boards to Deneau, and then he goes right around Nuke. So Nuke essentially just took himself entirely out of this play with a poor step up, creating space both up the boards and down the middle. The Avs defense might be sagging a touch much here. Not going to put too much stock into that. That's really nitpicky, but there are 3 Habs up near the top of the zone with no one in deep just yet. And if you're going to sag back that much, you'd like to see picking up the man a little bit better, in specifically Gallagher, as he's going to be the one cutting to the net here, as Deneau just kind of comes up the far boards and eventually lets a shot go from about the face-off dot a bit higher. So it's a half pickup job here. Graves staying to the outside as the puck comes through. Francouz also at fault here a bit. Really should have had this puck smothered, controlled. It just kind of gets away from him a little bit as Gallagher crashes the net. He finds it and is just able to poke it past him. I don't know if there was any massive critical error on that play. Maybe Francouz not handling the rebound, you could argue. But it was just a bunch of little things for the most part. The Avs maybe got a touch too comfortable with that 3-goal lead. And that's not the worst thing in the world, but the timing was really rough. If you get out of that second period with a 3-goal lead, that's a mountain to climb for Montreal in the third. Now, it's 1 goal away from being a 1-goal game. And on top of that, the Avs' legs were starting to wear down at that point. You knew the third was going to be a struggle, with Montreal having the momentum, coming out hot, and the Avs not being able to keep up at that point. And that's exactly what happened. It led to a penalty taken by Burakovsky, which put Montreal on the power play. and they get a goal in the first 2 minutes of the third. A 2-on-2 puck battle is going to come in the corner here, and the Avs actually win this puck battle as Cole is able to collect it pretty cleanly at the moment here, and even has a beautiful lane to fire it up and around the boards. Now, it may not get out, there's likely a defenseman or forward sitting at the point here, but he completely flubs the clear, just whiffs it, and it slowly rolls off into the corner, allowing Montreal to pinch in and keep the puck deep in the Avs zone, while the Avs have to scramble to try and get back into their positions out of that corner. So this just creates complete chaos as there's just no quality coverage. Confer overcommits up high, leaving a ton of space in near the nets. It's a quick turnaround, a walk-in on Francouz, and this is never ideal. Cole really would have liked to see him step up here. He's not a wizard. He doesn't fully know if there's a player on the Habs side stepping up on the back door, so he does have to respect it a little bit, but from this angle, you can clearly see there's no one there, and he should have stepped up. He doesn't. The shot just beats Francouz clean. That play is a real shame, because I think it gives the wrong idea about the way the Avs defense played in this game. For the majority of it, they were pretty darn responsible about their puck management and getting the puck to where it needed to be. That was just a big mistake. And when mistakes start to pile up, that's when teams get into trouble. But this year's Avs team has been able to put a cap on it, and that's again what they do here. They're able to be the better team and find a way to close things out. After the goal, they manage Montreal's initial push following up and then get a power play of their own. I already talked about how they failed to take advantage of that opportunity by putting the game away, but they did level out the game. It was much more even keel, much more paced after that, and they were able to get through the middle section of the third period without too many problems. But by about the halfway point of the third, or maybe a little bit past it, it was clear that there was just nothing left in the Avs' legs. They had given it all through the first two periods to get that 3-goal lead, and now they couldn't do it anymore, and it was on Pavel Francouz to maintain the 1-goal difference. And that's exactly what he did. At times, he made life harder for himself by giving up multiple rebounds repeatedly and having to make multiple saves consecutively. But he did it. He made every single save that he had to. This is how you compete at the top level of the NHL. Doesn't matter who steps up, doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter where, but whoever is on the spot gets the job done. Whether it's the Avs forwards in the first period giving them the lead or Francouz at the end of the third holding the lead. With that, the Avs have won 5 in a row, and they have 1 game left on this road trip, which is now a total free roll in Boston. I told you this team was going to be good when they got healthy, and even now, they're still not 100%. Missing Kadri, missing Johnson, and technically missing Wilson as well, which is going to be a long one. The first half of this game was a very, very good Avs team. The second half was a good enough Avs team. And when you're beating teams with good enough, you're going to win a lot of games. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching, and head on over to thednvr.com and consider signing up for a membership. Check out our premium content and help support us making content like this. I am Rudo, and it is real nice to have the three-headed monster back.